I want to open this by talking just a little bit about what we know about what's happening in early care and education, or childcare, in the state of Wisconsin. So the Bipartisan Policy Center recently did a gap analysis of childcare in 25 states in our nation, including Wisconsin. What they found is that Wisconsin, prior to COVID, had a shortage of approximately 120,000 childcare slots for children age 5 and under whose parents are attached to the workforce. This is a gap of 40% in terms of what demand for care might be. While nationally, 61% of infants have mothers that are in the workforce, in Wisconsin, we exceed 70%. And while almost 3/4 of all children under 5 have parents in the workforce, what we know is that we're facing dramatic shortages of childcare, making it increasingly difficult for parents and especially women to be in the workforce.
One of the answers is early childhood development. I mean, it's been shown to be one of the best investments there is. Fed at Minneapolis put it out as 16% annual return, essentially into perpetuity. The folks out of the University of Chicago pegged it at 17-to-1 cost benefit ratio. And this is based on, controlled experiments from the past. If we don't do that, we run into not only the quantity problem and the quality problem, but from a macroeconomic viewpoint, we run into the problem of less productivity and what that means on a per capita income basis. And then what that means for a tax burden basis distributed across the citizens of the state, and how that affects then everything we were talking about this morning as far as infrastructure investment, everything from broadband to schools to sewerage to everything that's necessary to fund a successful economy going forward, particularly against the competition that we're going to be facing not only in the upper Midwest, but across the nation and actually across the world for talent.
I have young children. I haven't had childcare for over a year. I lost my childcare as a result of the pandemic. So it's not even, affordability would be great, but just having access would be great. And I know that this does kind of overlap into some quality of life issues that is in another session here, but it is a workforce development concern where it's hard for parents to go to work. I even know early childhood teachers who say, I would love to work or, work part-time or work full-time, but I don't have childcare. And if I had childcare, I would go. And that's exponential, right? Like they can't go and be childcare providers or teachers in early childhood programs when they don't have care for their children. So, it also speaks to a quality of life thing too, that I'm not sure we have great schools, but there's little else here for young children and families. So I don't know how convincing I could be to other young parents to, hey, move to my area for these jobs. There's jobs, but what else do I have to offer you?
Basically, every meeting for committee, board, or whatever I'm on, it always boils down to the same two issues. It's always affordable housing and childcare. I think with the childcare, if Wisconsin could stand out as a state that had low or minimal costs for childcare, I think that'd make us competitive.
The childcare issue, if we've got a 30 to 40% deficit in just childcare businesses that can't stay in business, what we're talking about is across employers. How do we cooperatively establish some kind of means of a site-based childcare system that would be subsidized by the employers so that they would be an incentive to come work for us. So when we're competing in the marketplace for county employees, if there was a site that us and Gunderson and LHI and other employers are jointly helping fund and subsidize that care, that then we're all attractive as a downtown set of businesses. So we're trying to think far beyond what we've ever done before, where childcare isn't our issue, that's up to the employees to deal with, and trying to see if there aren't some ways to break through what that deficit is. And it'd be less likely to subsidize individual childcare, but actually subsidizing our employees as they're trying to purchase childcare. That's just an idea that we're kicking around, and we've been working on it for over a year, way before the pandemic, recognizing this as a deficit for employees to be able to access. So we don't have it solved by any means, but those are the kinds of discussions we're having.
Our local technical college established their own child care as part of the college, and we went and looked at that a couple years ago. And because of the importance of attraction and retention, we actually established our own child care center as part of our county-owned and operated nursing home. I think we're the only nursing home in the region that's done that. And I can assure you that's had an impact on our ability to recruit and retain staff. So that would be a suggestion that others might want to look at statewide on how do we go about establishing accessible child care. And of course, we could use some of the ARPA funds for those critical investments. We haven't taken that on as a county government. We haven't added staff or added that operation. We contracted with a local company called Generations to provide that. And we're seeing more of that happen now throughout the county. But we certainly welcome and want to encourage more childcare because, as you know, that's just critical to our ability to recruit young people to the area and make sure that they have greater balance and comfort with not only being able to work here, but make sure that their children are well cared for and that they can enjoy the quality of life that we offer.
We don't have a shortage of workers here. And actually, as I think about it, we probably have more people who would like to work here than we can accommodate. And a big part of that, most people don't know that, is the child care issue. And we have a great child center on campus. And I talk to people all the time. And I used to work at other universities that didn't have child care. And some people will say, well, I'd really like to come and work there, but I don't have options for childcare. So we're very fortunate to have that. And I will underscore how important that is across the board.
Have we looked at, since we're talking about spending one-time money and we're talking about wanting to improve childcare, have we had any serious conversation about how you spend one-time money on childcare without and still somehow maintain the concept of sustainability?
You know, I think I can answer both of those in one answer, and this is just off the top of my head. But if you use the money to get a child care center going and showed that it was very high quality, and then began to have the employers underwrite it, maybe it's a subsidy with the employee, but I think that would be a really novel way. We've got to expand it clearly. And I say that because our child care center, it only has so much capacity and there's a waiting list. And, so clearly there's room to do more. And this may be the way to get that started. But that point is absolutely correct. You have to consider sustainability of it. How do you fund it over the longer term? But maybe it's, as I say, a question of getting something good going, and then people see the value and there is the support longer term.
I agree with the chancellor. I think we take the state's playbook here, Jim. As you know, the state often funds programs, or they'll mandate a program and fund the program, and then over time they don't keep up with paying for it or taking responsibility for it, right? And more falls to the shoulders of local government. Well, the beauty of these funds is we have 3-4 years to make some decisions and make some good investments. So clearly with childcare, for example, our nursing home, Rocky Knoll, we built the addition. We remodeled and established and paid for the infrastructure for that childcare. And then we contracted with a local private organization to come in and staff it, right? So we don't have that ongoing operational cost, but we made the one-time investment to get it established.